Ever feel like you're doing all the right things and still wondering why your body feels off? You eat well, you train hard, your labs say you're fine, but deep down you know something's slipping. You're not alone and you're not crazy. I'm Daniel Rasmussen, founder of Echelon Center for Longevity, and I've spent 2 decades helping high performers like you to reverse aging, reignite vitality, and finally get answers. On Unbreakable Vitality, we go upstream. We talk peptides, stem cells, precision diagnostic testing, reversing the age of your arteries, all the innovative science-based tools to take back your health span so that your next decades are your best yet. Because aging is real, but decline is optional. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Unbreakable Vitality. Have you ever been told that your environment is just rigged against your biology? You're not lazy, it's just the environment is rigged. Let that sink in for a second. Because if you've ever felt like you know what to do for your health, but you just can't stick to it, it's not because you're weak, it's not because you're unmotivated, and it's not because you are a victim of your environment. And it's definitely not because you're unmotivated, because you are. It's also definitely not because you're destined to fail. It's because your current environment, your routines, your rhythms, your sensory triggers, they're all wired for survival, not longevity. We live in a world that rewards speed, stimulation, short-term comfort, in the moment hedonism that leads to, I'll have that one drink and then I'll have 4 more. It opens up the door sort of thing. Your phone is designed to hijack your dopamine. Your schedule is built around demands, not restoration. Your diet is driven by convenience, airport food, fast food convenience, the Quickie Mart down the road, Quickie Mart runs. I get told this all the time by patients who are just in the habit of doing this. Oh, I just don't have time to plan ahead, so I just leave it to chance. That's why so many smart, high-performing, health-conscious people still feel stuck. What is the solution? You don't just need better habits, you need a lifestyle architecture that's engineered for regeneration, not just resistance. So in this episode of Unbreakable Vitality, we're going to show you how to design a life that works for your biology, not against it. You're going to learn how to align your daily rhythms with your hormonal and mitochondrial patterns. You're going to build a home and a workspace that cue health automatically. You're going to shift from forcing habits to embodying identity. Because when your environment reflects your future self, your future healthy self, that is, your actions follow automatically. It just becomes who you are. Let's be honest. Most health advice is built on just one assumption, that if you just try harder, if you just had more motivation, more willpower, more discipline, you'd be in the best shape of your life. But here's the truth. Willpower is not a sustainable strategy. You can only hold out for so long against those sugar cravings with your willpower. But here's the truth. Willpower is not a sustainable strategy. Why? Because willpower is a finite resource. It burns out by the end of the day. And in a world filled with friction, distraction, and artificial urgency, it doesn't stand a chance. This is why most health habits fail. Not because you don't want it badly enough, but because your environment is working against your biology. You start a new supplement protocol, but you're still sleeping next to your phone and checking emails at midnight or scrolling. You sign up for the gym, but your meetings are stacked so tight, there's no room for recovery. You can't squeeze it in. You eat clean for 10 days and then one bad night of sleep leads to blood sugar crashes, cravings, and a spiral of decisions that you didn't plan for. That's not a lack of discipline. That's a misaligned lifestyle architecture. Most of us live in default environments, ones designed for convenience, speed, stimulation, and consumption. Bright lights late at night, zero meal planning, eating out every night of the week, chronically open loops on devices, workspaces that scream urgent 24/7. Your brain is constantly being asked to resist something, the notification, the snack, the late night scroll, the third cup of coffee, and resistance burns resources. All that resistance to those environmental factors burns up your resources. This is why motivation is a trap. It makes you believe you're the problem when in reality, your system is the problem. Here's what we know from behavioral neuroscience. The more friction between you and the healthy choice right in front of you, the less likely it will happen. Let me say that again. The more friction between you and the healthy choice, the less likely that healthy choice is going to happen. The more effort it takes to sustain a behavior, the faster it falls apart under stress. The more cluttered and chaotic your environment, the less access you have to executive function. So the goal isn't to become more disciplined. The goal is to become more architected. You need environments that make healthy choices easy, make them attractive, make them stickable, rhythms that sync with your biology, triggers that automate your intention. Because here's the truth: when your space, your schedule, and your sensory inputs are all aligned with your physiology, healthy becomes effortless. It becomes easy, it becomes automated. I'm going to show you how we do that using the 4 core pillars of lifestyle architecture: rhythm, recovery, nutrition, and movement. How default environments silently sabotage health. The myth of motivation, why it's a trap. So if habits are the bricks, lifestyle architecture is the blueprint. If you don't have a blueprint, how far are you going to get with that building structure? At the Echelon Center here, we've identified 4 core pillars that determine whether your daily life regenerates you or wears you down. Let's talk about the first one: rhythm. So your body runs on these internal 24-hour clocks called the circadian rhythm. You've heard about that. They regulate everything from hormone release and blood sugar to cognitive sharpness and immune system function. When those rhythms are all aligned, you feel unstoppable. You feel unbreakable. When they're disrupted, everything else struggles to stay upright. That's why we focus heavily on sleep timing, light exposure, and cortisol curve optimization. It's more than just taking adrenal gland support. That is not going to work. You're going to waste your time. It's not just about getting 8 hours. It's about getting those hours at the right time and in a sleep architecture that supports hormone pulsing, lymphatic detox, and mitochondrial repair. Chronobiology, time biology matters more than most people realize. And when you sync your activities to your internal clocks, your metabolism, your focus, and your energy improve automatically. Our bodies do all of this automatically. We just got to make the right environment right. Number 2, recovery. In our culture, stress is glorified, but burnout is a badge of honor. Push through, work harder. Real longevity isn't built in the grind, it's built in the recovery cycles. If you want to regenerate, you must dominate the parasympathetic state. That's the rest and digest mode of your nervous system. We teach our clients how to microdose recovery throughout the day. Strategic, tactical breath work, walking meditations, cold exposure followed by heat, 90-second vagus nerve reset. These aren't luxuries. They're biological resets that you get in the rhythm of. Training your nervous system to have them become automated so you don't have to consciously think about them. When you build recovery into your rhythm, your body repairs faster, your heart rate variability improves, and you show up sharper. You perform better for your friends, your family, your community, your career. If you're an entrepreneur, your business. Okay, now number 3 is nutrition. Nutrition isn't just your macros and calories. Calorie counting doesn't work. It's also timing, context, and chemistry. Yes, we want clean inputs, high quality grass-fed or pastured protein, healthy fats, not bad fats, lots of healthy salts, mineral salts, not table salt, and micronutrient dense foods. But how you eat matters too. Do you eat on the go or at a table? Do you eat in front of the TV or sitting down breaking bread with your family? Breaking bread is a phrase. Are you eating in flight or flight mode or from a place of calm? Do you eat rhythmically or erratically? We also coach clients on nutrient sequencing, like front loading protein earlier in the day, cycling carbs based on activity, and then pairing nutrients that enhance bioavailability like vitamin C with iron. Little nuances like that would take you a long time to learn on your own through trial and error, decades really. So we shorten that learning curve of all those clinical factors. We even factor in social dynamics because community at meals affects your digestion, hormonal balance, and mental health. In fact, relationships, in looking at the blue zones all across the globe, they've discovered that one common denominator impacts more on longevity
than anything else. Meaningful relationships throughout your life that carry through into your older age has more of an impact than your diet. So this is very important. Next, we focus on movement. We don't talk about exercise as a chore. Sweat is your fat cells crying. No, we talk about movement as medicine, and that includes resistance training for lean mass, mitochondrial density, hormone regulation. Your muscles are an endocrine organ. It's also, we talk about mobility training to support your fascia, circulation, and your joint regeneration, along with Wharton's jelly stem cell therapy and alpha-2 macroglobulin treatments help jumpstart the regeneration process, and then it is maintained through the lifestyle architecture. Movement microdosing. This is really key. Remember this, movement microdosing, just like walking while you're talking on the phone, getting some steps in while you're talking on the phone, body weight circuits between meetings, quick circuits, sunlight walks after meals, getting out in the sunlight, let the sunlight hit those eyeballs. So the goal isn't just fitness, it's metabolic flexibility, tissue regeneration, and lymphatic flow. When you build your day around these 4 pillars, rhythm, recovery, nutrition, and movement, everything shifts. Your cravings change, your focus sharpens, your mood stabilizes, your labs improve, and the best part, you stop trying to force those habits because your life is now the protocol. It's amazing. In the next segment, I'm going to go even deeper. I'm going to show you how to make these pillars stick by aligning them with your new identity: recovery, stress reduction, parasympathetic dominance, breathing, nutrition. And it's not just what you eat, but how, when, and with whom. Movement, things like resistance, mobility, microdosing activity. You probably heard that a lot of these habits are built by repetition. And while that's true, it's only a small part of the story. So the real key to sustainable change isn't just doing something repeatedly, it's shifting your identity to match the behavior you want to sustain. One of my mentors always used to say, be, do, have. If you want to have things you want in your life and do the things you want in your life, you have to be the person who does those things. So if you want to be a successful businessman, you have to become a successful businessman up here. Identity change, be, do, have. First, become, then you can do and have. Very important principle of success, universally applied to all areas of life. Okay, so in other words, you don't stick with habits by telling yourself, I should meditate. You stick with them when you believe internally that I'm the kind of person who prioritizes inner peace. You're going to carve out times and become that person. And this is identity-based habit design, not just rote memorization of a new behavior. Here's how it works. Every time you follow through on a behavior that supports your health, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. So think about it that way. And when those votes start stacking up, your self-concept shifts, your self-identity shifts, your body composition shifts. You're no longer trying to become someone else. You're just being you, the next version of you. You're evolving, you're growing. And this is how we build what we call a feedback loop of wins, because we all like to win. So you identify the identity you want to embody. You take one small action that reflects that identity. You reinforce it with visibility and context. You journal it, you track it, and you're sharing it. Your brain says, this is who I am now. Here's an example. Let's say you want to be someone who protects their sleep. Instead of forcing yourself to go to bed earlier and getting frustrated, you say, I'm someone who guards their circadian rhythm. Then you turn your phone off at 8:30 p.m. You start dimming your lights. You put your True Dark glasses on, truedark.com. Go check them out. Dark glasses to start activating your melatonin cycle. You set out your work clothes for the morning the night before. That single ritual reinforces that identity, and then your biology will follow. So when we work with clients at Echelon, we don't just give them a plan. We help them become the type of person who executes on that plan with very little effort. We focus on I am statements to program your subconscious, our subconscious, visual cues that remind them of their new identity, celebrating small wins that reinforce their evolution. This isn't fluff. This is neuroscience. Your reticular activating system, the RAS, filters your reality based on what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're inconsistent, it will find evidence and you'll repeat it. If you believe you're powerful, it will filter the proof for you and find it. So identity isn't just mental, it's physiological. When you live as the person you're becoming, your stress hormones shift, your brain waves patterns shift, your digestion improves, your vascular system relaxes. This is how mindset becomes medicine. In the next section of this episode, we're going to get a little more practical, and I'm going to show you how to turn your environment into a silent coach that keeps you anchored in that identity day after day. Because your environment is either your greatest ally or your constant resistance. So let's address it at the root. Everything around you, the light, the temperature, the sound, even the scent, sends signals to your nervous system. Signals that say either be alert or relax, heal or hustle, conserve or perform. If you don't consciously design these cues, they will be designed for you, usually by algorithms, culture, or chaos. So let's get practical about this. Bright blue light at night crushes your melatonin and delays sleep onset. Red shifted light in the evening supports natural circadian rhythm down regulation. We recommend swapping ceiling lights for warm lamps after sunset. Use blue light filters or true dark glasses after 7 p.m. I don't have the true dark glasses on right now, but I do have them at home and they work. Getting sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up. Or if you live in the Pacific Northwest, like a lot of us, then you need to get maybe a full spectrum light to flip that thing on when you wake up in the morning when it's still dark. Because when I wake up at 6 a.m., even in the wintertime, it's not getting dark until 7. So flip those lights on, get that light hitting your eyeballs. Cool the ambient temperature down in your house. Don't keep it warm, keep it cool. Cooler ambient temperatures signal repair to your body. Warmer temps trigger alertness. Keep your bedroom between 65 to 67 degrees for deeper sleep. Use contrast therapies like sauna and cold plunge, alternating to reset your nervous system and flush inflammation. One of the best ways to knock yourself out at bedtime, if you're ever having a difficulty getting to sleep or just getting tired, is a cold plunge. And if you don't have a cold plunge, take a cold shower. And that cold shower, start it warm and then flip it to cold and stay in there for 1 to 2. Ideally, the golden goose will be 3 minutes. You'll step out of that shower and it will activate a natural tranquilizer in your body and you will sleep like a rock. Sound and smell. If you have a white noise or binaural beats during deep work, that can improve your focus. Even during sleep, if you find white noise or background binaural beats, music to put on to keep that background noise, it's going to help you sleep better. Lavender, frankincense, or cedar wood diffused in the evening can reduce your sympathetic tone. Visual cues like placing your supplements next to your water glass so you remember to take them. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep a wind down tray by your bed with magnesium, herbal tea, or a sleep mask. Setting these little cues up, these small details create a pattern recognition in your brain. And when your environment repeatedly nudges you in the direction of health, your brain begins to associate that space with that outcome. And we call this anchoring, and it works. You can even extend it to your digital environment. Unfollow accounts that spike comparison or your cortisol. How are you feeling when you follow that person and see their posts? Are you feeling better and optimistic, or are you feeling jealous and left out? Rearrange your phone apps so that health-related tools are at the front and center, easy to find. Use reminders and lock screens with affirmations or behavior triggers. And for your workspace, stand up for calls. Set a timer for hourly movement breaks and maybe place a water bottle with a little bit of pinch of pink Himalayan salt in it or some non-sweetened electrolytes within an arm's reach right here. These aren't hacks. They're just signals and your body is listening to them whether you realize it or not. When your spaces are curated, you put intention into them, you're paying attention to the small details, your habits become more automatic. It's like magic. When your cues are aligned, your biology becomes optimized. So next, I want to talk a little bit more about how we bring all of this together in real world lifestyle architecture at our clinic, Echelon Center for Longevity, and how our patients go from scattered to structured without burning out. So we've talked about theory, tools, and frameworks just in the last few minutes. Now let's bring it down to earth. How do we apply this? This is how we actually implement lifestyle architecture with our patients here at the Echelon Center. Every protocol we build starts with diagnostics. We test, not guess. And we test not just to find dysfunction, but to find opportunity, not to find disease, but to find opportunity for optimization. We analyze biomarkers, hormones, nervous system patterns, lifestyle rhythms, and then we build the blueprint off of that. So let me give you a real example of a 45-year-old female executive, spoken about her before, came to us in full burnout mode. She was doing all the right things, working out 6 days a week, counting her macros, trying to meditate, and yet she still felt anxious, bloated, brain fogged, and exhausted. We did that full diagnostic suite, flatline cortisol, high homocysteine, subclinical hypothyroidism, low heart rate variability, and mitochondrial dysfunction. She had poor sleep efficiency. She had nutrient depletion across her B vitamins and magnesium. And here's how we re-architected her lifestyle. Morning protocol: wake up, hydration, sunlight exposure within 15 minutes. 5-minute breathing to prime the body and visualizing her day to go well. Protein forward breakfast with electrolytes. No phone until first deep work session is complete. Midday reset, 10-minute walk post-lunch for blood sugar, 2-minute vagus reset between calls, strategic carb intake for parasympathetic support. Her evening routine: screens off at 8:30 p.m., lights dimmed, red lights in the house, wind down rituals, magnesium glycinate, herbal tea, and red light panel. She started doing gratitude journaling and tomorrow's priority list so that she could get it out of her head so that her head wasn't racing at nighttime. We layered in bioidentical hormone optimization, arterosil for endothelial support, GI map driven gut repair, nutraceutical stacking for energy and repair, peptides for resetting her body's physiology and reversing her age. And then her identity began to shift from someone trying to manage burnout to someone actually architecting her energy. Within 3 months, about 12 weeks, her energy was back to as good as it's going to get, restored. Her sleep consolidated, brain fog gone, weight back to normalized. All of her labs reversed their direction. But here's the best part: she wasn't trying anymore. Her life was built to support her outcome. And she felt like the next decades were just going to be really easy and confident, knowing she had that peace of mind that her health was getting better. So that's the power of applied lifestyle architecture. It's not about adding more to your plate. It's about building a life that makes health inevitable. So if you've been trying to build healthy habits and still feel like something's not clicking, it's time to stop blaming yourself. Start redesigning your life. Start with something free and easy, the lifestyle architecture quiz. And that's basically your vascular age quiz at echelon-longevity.com/quiz. Because when you live in alignment with your design, health becomes automatic. So next time on Unbreakable Vitality, we're stepping into the future of regenerative medicine, the cutting edge. We'll unpack the science of peptide therapy, what it is, how it works, and why it's becoming the cornerstone of age reversal, cellular repair, and performance optimization. It's what we call the Echelon GPF method. You do not want to miss this one. So next time we'll explore the world of peptide therapy and what they are, how they work, and why they're changing the future of regenerative medicine. I'll see you there.
If you're feeling like your energy, your edge, or your clarity just isn't what it used to be, you're not alone. But you're also not stuck. Every week on Unbreakable Vitality, we explore real strategies to reverse aging, reclaim vitality, and rewrite what's possible. If today's episode gave you even one insight, pass it on. Then go take the free vascular age quiz at echelon-longevity.com/quiz to see how your body's aging. Subscribe, leave a review, and follow us because your future isn't on autopilot. You are building it and you're just getting started.